you know, the word chameleon floats around these YouTube streets like quite often. And I honestly, at this point, the amount of chameleons that I've came across, I can't blame men for having a side eye and thinking like, oh my gosh, is she a chameleon, or is accusing anybody of being a chameleon, right? I strongly believe that anything in the darkness will eventually come out to light if you give it enough time, right? But with that being said, I wanted to kind of open up and get more personal about like things that you had to do once you realize, Jasmine, I know you were a single mom before you met your husband, and Tia, I know you were older before you know, realize and say, okay, you got to do things differently, you want different results. Like, and for me, I put myself in the conversation because I prioritize school over relationships. So it's a mixture of all the things that Black women do on the panel now, right? So let's dive a little bit deeper into things like steps, practical things we had to do, more than just saying, oh, I'm gonna lower my voices, you know, or I'm gonna wear pink or wear perfume. What are some of the things that we really had to do to change? Let's start with you, Jasmine.
Well, because I had coming from a single mom's point of view, I had to prioritize my man. I wanted him, but once I found someone that I was like, okay, yeah, I could follow him. I could follow him anywhere with my eyes closed. Once I found him, I was like, I need to prioritize him, and he needs to know that I prioritize him, because that is the biggest wedge for single moms is my kids come first, which is honestly true. Your kids are supposed to come first as a single mom because dad is not there. But if you are wanting to have a marriage in the future or keep a man, you're going to have to prioritize him and let him see that, and kind of balance that. Don't walk around saying, yeah, my kids come first, and even verbally saying that to him could be a complete turnoff. And then on top of that, with prioritizing him and making sure that I had time for him and made sure I had time for him and give him that needed attention, I also recognized that I wanted to learn what it was that he wanted. So when he would talk to me and say, I don't like this, I don't like that, I would actually listen. I wouldn't combat it. I wouldn't say, but why you got to be this way, or other people aren't like that. Although I had my times where I compared him and was like, he's a difficult man. This man is difficult compared to so-and-so's man. But hey, this is the man that I want. So I was willing to just deal with it. It was one of those things, I'm going to just deal with it because this is who I want. So this is who he is, and I'm just going to have to deal with that. Thankfully, after time, Kevin Samuels came out, and I realized that it wasn't just him. This is how men feel. They just aren't bold enough to speak to it. My husband was bold enough to tell me in the dating phase, like, nah, that's not gonna fly. And although there were times where I told him, I'm like, you're just too honest. You're too honest to me. I wasn't used to that, but at the same time, it made me respect that. So from that respect, it was a struggle. Yes, because I was a single mom, because I came from a single mother's home, because of society and the things that we hear today with feminism. But I was 21 when I met him. So it was still easier for me to say, you know what, I just want to be with him. I just want to get on his program. I don't really have anything much going for myself anyways. I want to be a part of whatever he has going on. And I think women just need to humble themselves and say, am I going to join someone, or are we just a lot of times women today want to say, no, we're both bringing, this is you bringing my life, I'm bringing my life and my aspirations, and you're bringing your life and your aspiration, and it's going to be 50-50. No, when you change that mindset and say, I am coming to be with you, I'm coming to give myself to you and sit at your table, that's when, it ended up working out for us.
I agree with Energy Complete Wellness that he appreciates your growth, and I appreciate your transparency. you all know the word I'm trying to say. Quick question though, Jasmine. Did you come to the realization of your, and I'm going to use the word limitation loosely, because would it be limitation? I don't know, but you come into the table, the dating market, at a disadvantage because you had kids, right? So you see, let's use the word disadvantage. Were you aware of your disadvantage before you met your husband and you knew, okay, I had to come straight, or was that something after?
Yeah, thankfully, that was something I had just learned from the last relationship I was in. Dude just out of nowhere was like, I can't be a stepdaddy. It just was like deuces. So it was like at that moment, I'm like, wait, hold on. I am a single mom. I'm not ideal. I'm thinking I'm just this hot stuff and I can just get whatever I want. But once that happened, especially considering he was borrowing my car, I was giving him money. He was one of those guys. Like I was helping him out. And I'm like, and even him. So yeah. Stop. But because of that, it just made me recognize like, whoa, like, yeah, this I'm at a disadvantage and I really need to accept that. And I need to, move forward. I actually gave up and was like, I'm not going to even try to focus on having a man right now because of my situation. But then I met my husband and then it was just like, okay, now I know, let me not step into this acting like I'm the best thing since sliced bread. Let me show him that I am so grateful that he's considering me.
So it sounds like you had to swallow a huge pill, like with a lot of water, like slowly, before you can say like, yeah.
And not to mention throughout our marriage, even after getting married, I still had, like, even to this day, I still have my moments. Well, we've been married for 6 years, going on 7. I've known him for about 9. And it's been a growth, a hard growth that takes a lot of work, and I'm still working on it. I'm not perfect. That's why I built my channel, because as I learn, I want to show people what it is that's allowing for our family to be successful, because no one's perfect, especially in society today, in this Western culture. Single motherhood in the Black community and all of that, it's hard, because we're literally having to go against what culture is telling us is right. I've been picked on, even in church. These ladies like, why aren't you don't have a career? What are you doing for yourself? And I'm like, I'm a wife. I'm a stay-at-home mom. This is what I'm doing with myself. And they cringe at that, even in the church. So it's like, it's hard being different. But at the end of the day, who's wielding the best results? So that's what I ended up looking at. Who's wielding the best results? Then you have the older women like my mom, and they giving me advice. Oh, here's some money. You need to hide this, and all kind of silliness, just feeding me with bad seeds. So there were times where I had to recognize, okay, this isn't good for me, and I need to stop listening to certain people. Like, it took time and growth and learning the hard way sometimes. Thankfully, my husband was so patient with me. And I think he was so patient with me because I was willing to actually do the work.
No, you drop a lot of bombs. And one thing I want to emphasize, I think a lot of times, even with Kevin Samuels, rest in peace, a lot of women will hear and I think, Tia, we talked about this on the phone the other day. A lot of people will hear Kevin Samuels and hear him say, men don't want single moms, or men don't want, if you're in no man's land. And then they'll think, oh, it's the end for me. Like, there is no hope. And a lot of people are saying that Kevin Samuels made it seem like there were no hope for single moms or older women. And it's not that there wasn't any hope or there is no hope. It's that you need to realize where you are on the dating market. And as Jasmine did, take a huge dose of reality and humble yourself. And I admire that you said right before you met your husband, you said, you know what, let me just focus on my kids and not date. And then that's when you met him. So you weren't out there on dating apps talking about, I am the prize and you got to take me and my kids are a combo deal. Like, my kids come with me. Like, you humbled yourself, and I admire that. And then not only you did that in your personal life, but you're also using your channel to say, hey, this is the real. And then also you're not telling girls to go out there and become single moms and saying like, oh, look, it worked for me, so it's going to work for you too. So just go have his baby and somebody's going to, nah. You're actually teaching them how to protect their womb.
Yes, don't do that, because it brought a lot of pain, a lot of trauma, and it would have been easier if I didn't have kids. Even if if I met the same man, it would have been easier if I didn't. But at the end of the day, ladies, you can't just give your womb to anyone, because I'm telling you, I went through hell. And I'm not saying with my husband, even before him, it was hell. I was out here by myself trying to figure out things on my own, making dumb mistakes, just it creates a cycle that isn't good for you, nor your children, or your future man, because he is literally taking on your baggage. There's no nicer way that you can say that. Yes, I know there are, our children are our hearts, and we love them, and we hate to see them as baggage, but that's reality. That is what men see. That's not his seed. So there's gonna be issues even within that marriage, because you're gonna have to be able to balance that. And even that alone is hard work, let alone being a submissive, moldable woman, on top of having children that you have to train and make sure that they're respecting him, and make sure that you're giving him the adequate attention. And then especially if the baby's father is around, that's a whole nother level. Like it's a lot, ladies. Don't put yourself through that.